Opinion. Let's talk about opinions, man. Rolling Stone. Man, I don't want to talk about this because who gives a shit what Rolling Stone thinks? Before I get into this, they released the 200 greatest hip-hop albums of all time. There's roughly 16 people that attributed to this list. And most of these people are white, by the way. I want to point that out for a reason. Because I can tell. I can already tell without even looking at the names, without even looking at the people's faces. I could tell it was a predominantly white list. The reason why is because I saw first off, the list is horrendous, horrible. That's one indication. For the most part, no disrespect, but most white people don't get this right. You know, to speak on hip hop and be white, it's like it's a very tough thing to do. I don't really view myself as white American. I come from, a different culture, European. I am white, but from the European side, and I view myself different. My culture is totally different versus the typical white American. And you can tell there's a difference in music, music taste versus somebody who grew up in America, somebody that grew up in a different country, whether white or black, whatever the case may be. So you can tell it's mainly white people that contribute to the list because the list was pretty bad. And you could see a lot of Kanye, a lot of Kendrick, a lot of Playboi Carti's on this list. Like a lot of the white people that I know like those type of artists. Kanye, Playboi Carti, Chance the Rapper, like these type of rap artists, which no disrespect. Kanye's a good. I'm not saying that's a fucked up way, but you can just tell. You can tell, I don't know how to explain it with words. What's the best way to explain this with words? Have you ever seen those like frat white guys that listen to hip hop and you can just tell what kind of music they listen to? Just that's the direction of music they listen to. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm trying to say, but I'm not, I can't get the words to explain it. Well, regardless, you guys already know where my problem's at. I mean, it's easy to tell. They listed Get Rich or Die Trying at number 64. 64. 64! Man, at the end of the day, these are opinions, so I can't get too mad about the situation. At the end of the day, this is Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone has really never gotten much right when it comes to anything relating to hip-hop. So you take this list with a grain of salt, and it's just people's opinion at the end of the day. One of the lists that really disgusted me was there's like a football player that tweeted out a top 10 rappers list, and I quoted it on Twitter, and I was like, listen, I don't usually judge people's lists because it's their own opinion and it's fair. Whatever your list is what you feel, and that's totally fine. I respect it. But the list was so fucking bad that I had to say something. Like he had NPR at like number 3. He had like Machine Gun Kelly at like number 4, Eminem at like number 1. And like, it was just, it was no problem with Eminem being number 1. I'm not saying that. But the list was just so, like, no disrespect to NPR and Machine Gun Kelly, but they're not in the top 10 list of all time rappers. Not even fucking close. I don't even think they even cracked the top 100. No disrespect to them, but that's just, that list was just that bad. So, what pissed me off about Get Rich or Die Trying being at number 64 was this. It wasn't the fact that it was at number 64. Whatever, that's wrong in my opinion completely. It's wrong. I think Get Rich or Die Trying, for a true hip-hop head, that album should be a top 20 album on anybody's list. Simply because of the fact of production, delivery, flow, energy surrounding the album, commercial impact, cultural impact, everything about that album is perfect execution, perfect timing, perfect singles, perfect album artwork, perfect everything. That's why it did what it did. That's why it sold 14 million records worldwide. There's a reason why it sold that many records worldwide. It's not because it's just a mistake. No, there's a reason why the song in the club still plays to this day. It's a classic forever. There's a reason why people still bump 21 Questions and all these other Mini-Men, all these records. It's not a mistake. It's not just, it just, happened. This is my problem with this being number 64. Their explanation of the album, their praise of the album, I guess you could say, if that's what you want to say, has nothing to do with 50 Cent. They just praise Dr. Dre's production. That's it. That's my problem with that. Look, this is what they said. This is what they wrote. Get Rich isn't just a smashing debut. It's a key moment in producer Dr. Dre's unprecedented 3-act career. Executive producing a crew of crack beat makers, Dre applied his magic to an underknown Queens rapper, matching East Coast lyrical minimalism with West Coast G-Funk minimalism. Turned out to be the ideal blockbuster pairing. It doesn't hurt that In the Club, the album's perfect first single, will be played on dance floors from now until the end of time. They didn't mention shit about 50. Nothing. Nah, the 50s flow, 50s lyrics, 50s delivery, 50s hooks, 50s bars. Nothing. It was all about Dr. Dre, which I love Dr. Dre. I love the production he did on this album. But where the fuck is the praise for 50 Cent, the guy who wrote these records that became big hits? You know how many rappers had In the Club that they couldn't do shit with it? Nothing. You had D12. What was the other? I forget his fucking name. The game mentioned him too. There were multiple rappers that had In the Club as a beat. They couldn't do shit with it. 50 did something with it. 50 made it In the Club, the biggest fucking record arguably in hip-hop ever. It was 50's pen that did that. 50's creativity. They didn't mention shit. Nothing about that. Not a single word. It was all about Dr. Dre's production. That's what I was upset about. You put it at 64, you're wrong in my opinion. I think it's top 20 of all time, but that's just my opinion. You put it at 64, you're completely whatever. That's a shitty opinion, but that's what you want to do. Rolling Stone's garbage anyways. We all know that. I don't know why people are getting really upset at this list. This is the description of the album was garbage. That's what pissed me off. That was one of the worst descriptions for one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time. Whatever. You got Get Rich or Die Trying at 64, right? So I scrolled down. I was like, all right, you got Black Star, MF Doom, Scarface. Okay. Kendrick Lamar. Damn, that's interesting, but okay. Notorious B.I.G., Life After Death. Okay, cool. Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted. Okay, Beastie Boys, License to Ill. Keeps going down. Okay, cool. Tribe Called Quest. All these. And then I see Migos Culture. Migos Culture is number 54. It's higher than Get Rich or Die Trying. Migos Culture. I love Migos Culture. I love that album. But to put that above Get Rich or Die Trying, like let's 1,000,000% be honest. Is Migos Culture album you bump consistently? It's a 2017 album. It's been out for 5 years. Is that even close to a classic? No. Fuck no. I don't know anybody who called that album classic. Now, did I hear people call it a great album? Sure, it's a great album. I'd give it a 7, maybe 8 out of 10. Fucking ahead of Get Rich or Die Trying, ahead of A Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Manures, ahead of Beastie Boys, Licensed Ill, ahead of Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted, ahead of the Notorious B.I.G., Life After Death, ahead of Kendrick Lamar's Damn, ahead of Scarface, The Diary, all these albums, Get Rich or Die Trying, and everything else that they went ahead of. You got Migos at number 54. Yeah, that kind of threw me off. You got Kanye West College Dropout, number 52, whatever. The Roots, keep going more and more. I'm not going to go over the whole list. One thing that I was happy about, that probably pissed a lot of people off too, and you know I can kind of understand it. One thing that I was happy about was this, and you guys are probably going to be like, "What the fuck, Quake? What are you talking about?" Chief Keef's Finally Rich was at number 32. Now, should it be number 32? I think that's way too high, but I do think, in my opinion, it is a top 50 album of all time. Now, you're probably thinking, "What the fuck, Quake? What are you talking about?" This is what they said about the album. There's still nothing that feels like Love Sosa, the breakout single from the then 17-year-old Chief Keef from his debut album, Finally Rich. The Chicago's rapper's melodic, hard-nosed anthem shook the foundation of hip-hop. The kids were taking control in a way that the genre had never seen, and why not? Chief's sound was the heart of Chicago's enduring drill movement, populated by young MCs whose lives are tingered with as much as violence as the prior generation's old heads. There's a menacing atmosphere throughout Finally Rich, but not enough to eclipse the feeling of triumph. Chief's ethos booms loudly and full of feeling, proof that the kids are all right. Yeah, that first off, to me, I love this album. I give it probably 9 out of 10. There's probably like one, maybe two, maybe three tracks I don't like. Other than that, it's perfect execution, man. Production, Young Chop, and whoever else produced on that fucking album, beautiful. Chief Keef executed it beautifully. And I think it's one of the best albums that I've heard in a long time at that time when it dropped in 2012. It also birthed drill music, Chicago. It gave Chicago a whole new life. And that was thanks to Chief Keef. Love Sosa, to me, I still bump to this day. There's so many songs off the album I still bump to this day. And I agree with it being high up on the list. I don't see any problem with that. I think it's a really, really great album. That's the one thing I agreed about on this list that I was happy about, was that Chief Keef's Finally Rich got some praise. I think it's a great album. To me, it's top 50 of all time, in my opinion. I don't know if it's top 40, top 30. I'd have to look into, like, if I ever did a top 100 album list, it would be in my top 50, 1,000,000%. You got Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday at 31. Obviously disagree with that. You got Tupac, All Eyes on Me, 29. Okay. Mob, Infamous, 28. Okay. It's respectful. Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt, which a lot of people got pissed off at being 26. Eminem, Marshall Mathers, LPs at number 25. I don't think Eminem Show was on this list at all, which is crazy. I don't think it was. Might have missed it, but I don't think it was. You got DMX is Dark and Hell is Hot, which is DMX's debut album at number 22. That was interesting. This was stupid. It made no sense. Maybe I don't know this. Let me actually Google it just to make sure. But they had a mixtape on this list, which I was like, why the fuck? I thought this was about albums. They had a mixtape on this list. Yeah, I'm right. This wasn't an album. They got Lil Wayne's The Drought 3, which is a fucking mixtape, at number 21. So, I don't know why they put a mixtape. If we had mixtapes included on this list first off is garbage already. But you put mixtapes on this list and you don't mention insane amount of mixtapes that came out from certain artists like that were way better than a lot of these albums that are on here. That doesn't seem fair to me. They put Lil Wayne's mixtape on here, but nobody else's. Okay, whatever. That confused the shit out of me. I was, what the fuck? Future DST2. I love this album. I think it's one of the best albums that came out in the last 10 years, easily. It was at number 20 on the list, which I disagree with being that high, but is an amazing, it's a probably top 50 album for me. Kanye West, Yeezus at number 17. I don't understand it. I disagree. Actually, let's just go over all number 20 and all this. So you got Future DS2 at number 20. Got Lil Kim, Hardcore at number 19. Lil Kim's huge influence came from this album. A lot of artists, rappers, female rappers that came out got influenced by this album. Makes sense, respectable. You got Mad Villainy, MF Doom, of course, collaborating. Producer Madlib. I don't know. I wouldn't rank it this high, but it is an amazing album. Number 18, you got it on there. Kanye West, Yeezus, number 17. Disagree with this being on here. It's a great album, but it's not Kanye West's. I don't think it might be one of the worst. Well, not the worst Kanye albums. That's too far. I think it's in the middle. It's not like the best, and it's not the worst. It's decent. This is what pissed off a lot of people. Cardi B, Invasion of Privacy, being number 16. Number 16. 16. Now, we talked about this album on the podcast before. This album broke a record that no album has ever broke in the history of music, period. What was that record? Every song on the album has gone platinum. That has never happened in the history of music ever. Not even Michael Jackson Thriller. I'm sure if now what helped this album doing that was streaming. That's the beautiful part about streaming, is now we can really see if an album is a classic based on if people are still listening to it years and years down the line. You know, I read the album sales list every week on the Monday episodes. And you guys always see a Lil Baby My Turn. You see Pop Smoke Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. You see sometimes Kendrick Lamar's albums. You see sometimes Eminem's. That's where you can tell if it's a classic, if it's still on the charts consistently. That's something that we never had prior to streaming. Streaming is what allowed that to prove to people that this is a classic. So Cardi B's album being this high, I think they're going off the fact that every song off the album went platinum. and it's still doing numbers. Which, if you're going off numbers, which they're not, they're going off their opinion. If we're going off numbers, this whole list would get changed up. But I think that's what they really factored into this. The fact that it won, it was Grammy nominated, all this stuff. And I think it won a Grammy. Yeah, I did win a Grammy. And the fact that she was formerly a stripper, then a reality TV star. They're explaining this thing, that she became a rapper and succeeded. Cool, but it's not 18. It just doesn't make any sense. Then you got Eric B. and Rakim, Paid in Full, number 15. Ghostface Killah, Supreme Clientele, at number 14. Dr. Dre, 2001, at number 13. Clips, Lord Willin', at number 12. I get it. Lord Willin' is influenced Drake. So Drake, Take Care, at number 11. Oh my God, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I'm not even going to. It's just ridiculous. That album is amazing, but it's not number 11 of all fucking time. Anyways, continuing on, you got Lauryn Hill, her only album ever, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, number 10. Respectable, Lauryn Hill. A lot of people love this album. Tribe Called Quest, The Low End Theory, number 9. Wu-Tang Clan, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, at number 8. Missy Elliott, Miss E, So Addictive, at number 7. Now, a lot of people got, some people were like, why the fuck is Missy Elliott here? If you don't listen to female rappers, you can't speak. Lil Wayne said Missy Elliott's his favorite rapper, rightfully so. She's something different. And when she bursted out the scene, it was unique. So, okay. You got Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which a lot of people consider Kanye's best album, at number 6. You got Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly, number 5. You got Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, at number 4. You got Jay-Z, The Blueprint, at number 3. You got Outkast, Stank Noya, at number 2. You got the Notorious B.I.G., Ready to Die, number 1. Yeah, I don't know. I disagree with this list wholeheartedly. You guys already know. At the end of the day, it's people's opinions. 16 people came together and decided that this was the list. Rolling Stone is not a hip-hop publication. I don't know why people are reacting in a way like they're acting like it is. And their opinion is just their opinion. It's wrong. I think a lot of these albums should be swapped out. There's a fucking mixtape on here, which is not fair. You put Lil Wayne mixtapes on here. And yeah, I disagree with the list. You guys already know, Get Rich or Die Trying being at number 64 is utterly a slap in the face to Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. And yeah, I don't know what else more to say about this list. Go over the list, see what you think. Don't get mad at it because, it's just people's opinion. It's a shitty opinion, but whatever, man. Billboard or Rolling Stone shouldn't ever dictate. Any place shouldn't dictate what you think is fire, man. Anyone or any publication. Not even me. Don't listen to me on what I think is fire. Go listen to it for yourself. And you decide.